Hey everybody, this is Lauren Bolander. Welcome to our third installment of our webinar series. We're going to be going over stranger danger and safety awareness today, so we're super happy that you guys could join us.
Yep. So before we dive in, if you guys want to go ahead and in the chat portion, let us know the age of the client that you work with and how long you've been working with them. Don't put names. We want to be HIPAA sensitive in the chat. So go ahead and put that in there so we can go off of that information throughout the questions. So jumping into stranger danger and awareness, we're going to go over what the definition of stranger danger is itself. So it's the idea or warning that all strangers can potentially be dangerous to children and adults. So it's not just children, it's also adults. And Lauren brought up a good point. The languaging of that is the idea or warning. Going into why is it such an issue for people on the autism spectrum, it's a vulnerable population. They're either oversensitive to sharing too much information or they don't share enough information, which makes them vulnerable in safety scenarios. It makes them vulnerable dealing with law enforcement, dealing with neighbors, that kind of thing. Our population is very literal thinkers. They're very black and white. So when teaching stranger danger and teaching these skills to our kiddos, we want to make sure we do it in a way that they understand and they comprehend. When they think black and they think white, we want to make it one way or the other. They have a lack of awareness of surroundings and possible dangers. So they have lack of awareness of in the community as well as in their school sometimes, and sometimes it's even in the home. It's not always in the community. You might have, DDD comes over to the house and other therapists come over to the house, and that kind of goes into the next segment. They often meet new people and are expected to comply. They meet speech therapists and occupational therapists, and they go through HAB providers, sometimes multiple HAB providers, and we want them to comply, and we have all these demands. So on the other end of that, we need them to know who they should comply for and who they're allowed to say no to.
Exactly. Very good. Very good.
Cool. So moving on, we're going to go over kind of some language that you can use with your client. So often when teaching stranger danger, a lot of, you'll see a lot of like websites or parents when they're teaching children saying, you can't talk to anyone you don't know, don't talk to strangers. I'm trying to think of some other language. We don't want to teach them don't talk to anyone, because there are safe people they can talk to if there's in a situation. So we want to teach scenarios such as you should not just approach anyone. If you need help, look for a uniformed police officer, look for a store clerk, or look for a parent with a child. Those are more safer options to look for if they're in a situation.
It's also a very clear, concrete tool that we can give them versus, because stranger danger and stranger awareness can be such a very gray area. Yeah, I don't want you to talk to strangers, but if you were to get lost, I do need you to find a stranger that is potentially safe. So using a lot of those languaging, very specific, like find somebody with a name tag, find a mom with kids. Those are very specific tools that we can teach them so they are safe in those situations.
Exactly, because when we teach them don't talk to anyone, like Lauren said, they don't think they can talk to anyone. So very specific is a good point.
Yes.
It's important for you to get my permission before you go anywhere to talk to someone. So them knowing that if they do want to go up to someone or something in the store, want to go to a certain area, that they just need to ask. A lot of our children will run because they think they can't go or someone's not going to follow them. If we give them the language to just, they can ask, and then maybe we can go, maybe not right now, but we can go.
And I think that's a situation that I like to do when I'm doing community outings with clients is if I'm at the store and I know that the toy section is going to be where they want to go first. So what I like to do is before getting to the store, I like to remind them, hey, remember, if you want to go to the toy section, you can totally ask me to go. And then if a situation were to arise and they did not ask for permission, you can prompt them by, oh, hold on, let's go back over here. And then you need to ask my permission again. Let's try that. Can I go over to the toys? Yes, you can. And then allowing them to go. But they do need to go back to that original spot in the store where they did try to escape from. So I like to bring them back, have them practice it with me, and then they get to be able to go out and get their toys.
Definitely. Pay attention to what people do. Tell me right away if anyone asks you to keep a secret, if it makes you feel uncomfortable or tries to get you to go with them. So reading through all this language, it's a lot of language, and sometimes our kids might not understand all of this language. So it's okay if you break it up or you make visual cards for it. It doesn't need to be this long sentence that they have to remember, but some kind of verbal cue that they know they can, pay attention to what people are doing in their surroundings. So this is good language to help teach your client. Have parents work on it with the client. There's plenty of, you can work on it with flashcards, note cards, but in addition to teaching the language, you want to go over role play scenarios. You also want to go over situations in the actual community. I feel like often we practice this a lot in the home. We practice all these stranger danger skills with all these games that Lauren and I are going to show you today, and that's awesome. This is a good front end of it, but you always want to make sure you bring it into the community so it can be applicable to what we're trying to teach.
Exactly.
So yeah, Lauren's gonna jump into, we're gonna jump into kind of some role playing and some games and social stories. So I will let her take that.
Excellent. So knowing that you guys have gone through orientation training, we did have a couple of materials that go over stranger danger and awareness, and one of those is a social story. So social stories is a really great way to explain a very confusing, very vague topic, very broad topic that is stranger danger. But not only teaching with the social story, but role playing afterwards, and then using some other activities to supplement that. So Amanda's going to be my client for the day. So we're going to read a social story that is about her. So Amanda tells how she is safe. Hi, my name is Amanda.
That's me.
That is you. High five. Very good. And I know how to be a super safety hero. Did you know you're a safety hero?
Yeah, I am.
That's right. In order to be a super safety hero, I always remember to never talk to strangers. Strangers are people I don't know, and I never talk to them unless my mom or dad says it's okay.
Can I talk to my sister? I don't want to talk. Is she a stranger?
She is not a stranger because she lives with you and she knows you. But sometimes we do get in fights with our sisters, but you do end up talking to them.
Okay.
Very good. Talking to strangers can be dangerous. I know it can be scary to think about, but not everybody is as nice as my parents or teachers. I should always ask the grown-up I am with if it's okay to talk to someone I don't know. Oh, look at that girl. Looks like that guy's trying to talk to her.
He has candy, though.
He does. Do you go up to people who want to give you candy?
I like candy.
I know, but when somebody tries to give you candy that you don't know, we say no and we walk away and find mom or dad.
Okay.
You got it? So what do we say?
No.
That's right. Nice job. All right, last page. Oh, wait, almost last page. But there are some people I don't know that are safe to talk to. These are police officers, firefighters, and store workers. I may not know their name, but I know they're not strangers because they wear a uniform or a name tag, and I know they're there to help us. If a stranger comes up to talk to me, here are some things that I can do to keep myself safe. Number one, I need to quickly find my mom or dad and tell them that someone I don't know wants to talk to me.
What if my mom or dad isn't there?
You can ask your caregiver, your provider that's with you, Miss Tammy. She's a great one to ask.
Okay.
Awesome. Tell the person I cannot talk to you because I don't know you, or you can just walk away. Walk away, find mom and dad.
So I can yell and run away and it's okay?
You can, and only if a stranger is trying to talk to you, okay?
Okay.
When I remember these easy rules, I could be a safety hero and keep myself safe. Woohoo! All right, so let's try some of these out, okay? All right, so which one do you want to do?
I don't know you. I want to do two.
Two? You got it. All right, so let's practice over here. So you're gonna be you, and I'm gonna be a stranger, and I'm gonna come up to you, and I'm going to try to get you to come with me, and you're gonna tell me, no, I can't talk to you, and you're gonna run away, okay?
Okay.
All right, let's practice.
Okay.
Hey, little girl, I got some candy in my car.
No, I don't know you.
Perfect. That was great. That was great. You want to yell and you want to get out of the way as fast as you can. I like that a lot. Very nice job. Very nice job.
So just to touch on the back end of that, for Lauren, so this social story is awesome. As you can see, Lauren and I just role played. So she did the social story and then we role played the scenario itself. And we want to practice that multiple times. We want to, as if you would call them fire drills, if you will. Like at schools, when they do fire drills for a safety, it's the same situation. We want to practice this as many times as possible. So when the situation does arrive, it becomes natural for the kid to say no and run away or whatever their go-to rule is. But you always want to make sure that you eventually do practice this with a possible stranger, a known stranger, maybe a parent's friend or something of that, or another provider, or Lauren and I can attend something. So they do really we want to make sure they do really understand what we're teaching here can be used in the community with a stranger.
Because ideally we want this skill to be generalized. If the kid can identify strangers and community helpers in the home, but not out in the community, that really doesn't do any good for safety awareness. So making sure we teach it structuredly in the home and then we practice it out in the community. Some other resources that I really like that kind of go in with social stories. This book, I purchased this book on Amazon. I'm not a commercial for them. They're not a sponsor, but this book I found was really insurmountable for teaching this really great concept. What I thought was really cool about it is identifying really specific concrete rules for kids to follow. So one is a safe grown-up won't ask kids for help, especially when you're by yourself. So instead of like, oh my gosh, is this situation a safe situation or not, that's a pretty concrete way for a kid to identify that this person is not safe to go up to. Because a grown-up is not going to ask another kid for help. That's just not what they do. But if they're a tricky person, as this book describes, that is something that the kids are going to need to look out for. So I really like this book. It was less than 10 bucks. So I think this is a really cool resource for targeting stranger awareness in a way that our kiddos are going to be able to understand.
And I think a topic that, you know, Lauren and I missed until I just thought about it right now was, when do you teach stranger danger? What's a good age? When do you start teaching this? To me, I don't think there is no specific age. I think the younger, the better, the more practice, the better. So that kind of leads into the next question of, have you guys taken so in your chat box, if you guys want to go ahead and respond, if you guys have taken your client out in the community, and if you feel that you guys are following safe rules and that kind of thing, just any maybe challenges you have in the community, that would be good for us to know so we can kind of help you guys out there.
Excellent. Another book that I really like is about privacy. So this book is about, it's called I Said No. So this is another really cool book that teaches kids about, you know, being safe if any, you know, uncomfortable situation, because unfortunately the world can be a scary place. So making sure that our kiddos are prepared and, you know, and comfortable with, you know, some of these concepts. Also, more importantly, I want to make sure that I discuss some of this stuff with the family to make sure that all this stuff is something that they're comfortable with teaching. All of these are very specific rules, and we want to make sure that the family is also on board and understanding what, you know, what is being taught to their child, you know, so there's continuity and consistency. So this is another really cool book that I like.
And also so mom and dad can practice it.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to the compliance thing. We always want our kiddos to be compliant, and we want them to listen, but we also want our kids to have voices, and we want them, and not our kids, just any population, we want them to be able to say no and know when they can say the word no and when it means, you know, what it means.
Exactly. Excellent. So here's another activity that will kind of support what the social story concept is teaching. If you guys took orientation, well, not if, you guys did take orientation, you guys might have remembered my mat sorting program, where I've got my red mat, which is strangers, my yellow mat, which is community helpers, and the green mat, which is safe people. That is a great prerequisite program prior to doing this type of activity. So that is a great way for kids to be able to identify the difference between strangers and community helpers. Once they've got that, this is a really fun, cool game that kind of goes a little bit more in depth with some of these the safety concepts. So Amanda, you're going to be my kiddo over here. You're going to be a blue pond today. Yeah. Excellent. So you are going to spin the spinner, and let's see what you got. Ooh, six.
Where do I start? Start right here?
Start right there, and you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Awesome. You got white, so let's spin again. What'd you get?
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got red.
You got red.
My favorite color.
So a man in a car asked you if you wanted to look at puppies. What do you say?
Oh, that's hard.
We just remember we
no. I say no. I don't know you.
Perfect.
Do I get to move?
You get to spin again.
Oh. You don't want to play?
I want to just watch you play.
Okay.
3.
1, 2, 3.
Awesome. You got white. Spin again. 1. Go to the yellow.
Yeah. I'll go to yellow.
There we go. Awesome. All right.
Pretend I got yellow.
So if we're working with a kiddo who might be nonverbal, here's some things that you might be able to work on with this one. So yellow will target community helpers. So you're lost at the mall and you can't find your mom. Who could you find? You're right, the security guard. He is a great person to find if you are ever lost in the mall. See, we can use pictures instead of Amanda needing to use verbalizations. She still understands the concept, and we're still able to work on a skill like this. So that is something that you can do.
And you can make the game as personal. I mean, it's a very simple, like candy. Lauren made this. It's like a Candyland board game. So you can make the pieces as personalized to the kid as you want. You can use a spinner or dice.
Yeah.
As far as the questions go, you guys can take turns or they can do it mainly. So you guys can really customize this game.
Yes.
And the questions that Lauren made, I know she has.
Yeah, we have a couple of different age levels. So this is for kids that are like elementary school age, probably like above, like around 7, 8 and up. And then the younger version is questions that are more like yes, no type questions. So let's do a question. Let's spin again and see if we can get a, let's try to get a green.
Okay. 3, 1, 2, 3.
Perfect, green. Okay, you found a store clerk when you couldn't find your mom. Jump ahead 1 space. What? Look at that.
I did find a store clerk.
Nice job.
I hope it was at Target.
Yeah, Target's the best. All right, let's do one more.
Okay.
You got 6.
1, 2, 3. I got
yellow. Very good. What helper fights crime?
There's so many.
I know.
Superman.
He totally fights crime.
Yeah.
That's a very good one. Who else fights crime?
The guy with the badge, the cop.
Yes.
Yes.
Nice job. Fantastic. And notice, like, when she said Superman, yeah, that was not the answer I was looking for, but I wanted to maybe ask her follow-up. Awesome. That's great. I want to reward that answer. And then who else could fight crime? So excellent. So this is a game resource that we can give to you guys if this is something you're interested in. If you guys think this would be helpful for your sessions, this could be something that we can easily make and send to you. Just shoot either Amanda or myself an email, Amanda, AMANDA at azaunited.org, Lauren, LAUREN at azaunited.org. If the materials you guys see today are something you guys think would be great to have in your sessions.
And coming back to the game, I know I was actually at a client's house last night, and we actually introduced this game.
Oh, awesome! How
cool. He wasn't. He didn't attend very long, so an activity for a long period of time was very hard for him. So as you can see, going through this whole game was very hard for him. So we did 3 turns, and then we went outside, and then we came back. So it doesn't have to be something you teach all at once. You can do it little chunks at a time. That's how I had to do it with a kid, because I'm sure some of you on the other side of the camera are thinking, my kid would never sit through that game, because I experienced it last night, so definitely that. So we, jumping into one more question, so if you guys could just let us know if you're currently working on any goals that are challenging safety-wise. So if you're working on stranger danger, street safety, I'm trying to think, remembering personal information, we're gonna go into contact information, that kind of thing. So if you're working on any specific safety goals that you feel are kind of hard to convey the message, or you don't know if your learner is understanding, we would love to know what that is, so maybe we can give you some tips and tricks going forward.
Excellent.
But yeah.
So I guess, Isaac, how many people have been taking their kiddos out in the community?
Looks like about 4.
Okay, excellent. About 4 of you guys. Awesome, cool. Awesome. And remember, if you guys are maybe a little anxious about taking your learner out into the community, Amanda and I love going out on outings, and we think it would be a lot of fun, or if that would be helpful for your sessions to have an extra set of hands there, we'll bring our running shoes, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. So definitely reach out if that's something you think you might be interested in.
And I definitely think in the community having, if it is in the past not the best situation, it definitely doesn't hurt having help of a parent or a field supervisor or anything like that. If something did arise, you would feel safe.
Yeah,
so.
We love the Children's Museum, by the way.
Yes.
We got another activity to help teach street safety. So let's clear out some of this stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Oink.
Look at this cool thing Lauren made, guys.
I know. So teaching kiddos to cross the street, have general street safety can be pretty daunting. There's a lot of stuff that goes out in the community. You got cars you're dealing with. You got to get to your destination. There's just a whole lot of stuff that goes and that's involved in being safe out in the streets and in the community in their neighborhood. So this is an activity that I created that'll help practice crossing the street in a really structured way, so we can practice it out in the community a little bit later. All right, Amanda, let's get your little person over here. This is all I could find.
It's a person?
It's a person today.
Okay.
We're going to turn on our imaginations today. All right, so which one is your house?
I want that to be my house, but this is my house.
You're right. I wish we could live at the park, but this is your house. And guess what? We're going to practice going to the park today over here.
Okay.
All right, so let's put you in your home where you live. All right, and so since it might be...
Are we going to the park today?
We will go to the park today. You betcha. Excellent. So I'm going to put some vehicles because this is a street. All right, Amanda, so we're going to go outside of our house, and you're going to let me know, is this safe to cross yet?
No.
Why is it not safe?
There's a race car in my front driveway.
Yeah, no kidding. Here. What about now? Is it safe to cross?
Which way? This way?
Yeah. This
way.
way. Awesome. Good job. All right, let's go up the sidewalk.
Ah, I have to stop.
You're right, you have to stop. And when we cross the street, we also need to do what? Look both ways.
Yes.
All right, so let's practice that. Ready? Left, right, left again. Is it safe to cross?
Not yet.
Not yet. What about now?
Yeah.
All right, let's keep walking to the
Can
park.
we run?
You
I
should
run.
probably walk on the sidewalk. It's safe. Yay, very good. Excellent. So you can see here that, you know, having the child identify if it's safe to cross or not. And then once they're able to master that, you can sit on the sidewalk outside and kind of look for cars that are coming. Would it be safe to cross now if we wanted to cross the street? Yes or no? Why or why not?
Definitely.
Excellent.
And you know what, guys? I am so sorry. Of course, I did this at 25. I hope we didn't lose too many of you. We have a gift card.
Oh.
So if you're still listening, at the end, we'll do a raffle between all the people listening for the $25 gas gift card. I so apologize for not mentioning that.
Yeah, we need to let you know what's motivating here.
Yeah, but it's motivating now, right?
Very good. Do we have any questions or goals that have been challenging for providers?
Yes.
Excellent. Let's see what we got.
Cool.
Thank you.
Sweet. So out in the community, biggest challenge is facial recognition, even if they've met before.
Ooh.
Okay. Facial recognition, as far as like known people, I mean, flashcards of faces is what I would do and just practice. So basically can I see your flashcards?
Yeah.
So you could take pictures. So what I would do is take pictures of everyone that's kind of in his life all the time, or her life, sorry. So therapist, you, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, cousins, maybe people that visit the house, and have pictures of them, and you can put their name on the back, and he would need to identify who they were or if he knew them. The MAC game that Lauren teaches in orientation, the red, yellow, and green, that's a really good way for them just to start identifying what a stranger is off the bat. Because before we go out and practice in the community or with the social stories, we want to make sure they even understand what a yellow person is, a firefighter or a cop or a therapist, and what a green person is, a family member, and a red person is pictures of people we may not know. So I would, for you, suggest the stranger mat game, and then with people he knows, he would identify them as green people. Yeah. So that stranger mat game is definitely something you can contact us for. I hope that answered your question. If not, let me know.
I got another idea too. Is if the learner has a hard time recognizing faces, I would try to get pictures that are really big, and try to see if that might help. But yeah, I'm kind of curious about the facial recognition thing. So if this did not answer your question, if you can reach out to us individually, we'd love to kind of help walk you through that and kind of maybe troubleshoot what's going on, or maybe there's some other options or tools that we can teach. Let's see what else we
Margaret, so knowing home address and using phone to call parents. So we actually are going to go, we have about 5 minutes, so we should go over that. Right. Unknown kiddo gets distracted. Like I said, if your kiddo is getting distracted during any of these games or activities, you can chunk it up. You only have to do small portions of the game and come back to it, see the areas that they struggle with the most and work more on those areas. If they get distracted in the community, I would make sure that you have really good like instructional control in the home and you're practicing all these skills in the home before you try it out in the community.
Yeah, make sure the outings that you do select are places that are more quiet and definitely not as busy. Maybe that'll help reduce some of those distractions that the child is currently working through.
Definitely. So we're actually, to answer Margaret's question about the home address, so teaching personal information is definitely something we want to touch base on. So we want, you know, them to learn mom and dad's address. Learning provider's number is
Depends on the age.
Yeah, it depends on the age and is nice, but you guys should always be in eye contact of your clients. So this is a good way that you can start teaching that. And then once we teach this information on the back end of that, we always want to make sure who we're sharing that information with, because I know a kiddo that you can ask him what mom's number is or his address and he'll just spout it out, and that's awesome, but we want to make sure he's spouting it out to the correct people. Not just anyone could come up to him and ask him that information. So once you teach this, then start teaching, okay, going back to our strangers, who can we share this information with?
And ways you can even role play that, I just had a thought for that, is if maybe the therapist or the provider, you can have like maybe stranger, like a name tag or something, so you can role play being a stranger, or a policeman, firefighter, doctor, want people that are safe to give information to. So maybe if you put on the sign that says stranger, say, all right, man, I'm going to be a stranger now. I'm going to ask you for your phone number and address, and you're going to tell me no. Or if I'm a police officer, and I need your personal information. That would be an okay scenario for the learner to give that information to. So you can kind of role play it that way, maybe using some name tags or something. That could be something you guys could try. To work on phone number, this is actually a really cool idea that Amanda taught me. Instead of just like writing it out or expressively talking about the phone number, that could be kind of daunting, but building a phone number, that's a lot easier. And if you remember about token economy systems, it's really good to start with just removing one of the pieces. So what I would do is I would remove one, and then I would ask Amanda, sorry, it's going to be upside down, guys. All right. What's your phone number? And let's
602-773-5773.
Awesome. Let's build it.
Where do I put it?
Put it at the end. Very good. That is your phone number.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. So we're going to take up now. She's going to be mastering. This is probably a little bit of an accelerated rate. So afterwards, after she's got the 3 very good down pat, I could then remove another one. Excellent. What's your phone number?
602-773-57.
What came next? Yeah.
7, the same 7.
Nice. And then last.
3.
Beautiful. Very good job.
I have 3 7s, 4 7.
There's a lot of 7s in your phone number. So that's why it's also nice to kind of visually build it out. And then eventually you can have all of them kind of mixed up, and she would need to build the whole thing.
And you can build it sideways, you can build it up, you can, I know one time I color coordinated each like segment.
Yeah,
you could do that, like when I taught the kid, I taught just the area code, then just this, but I liked Lauren's chaining idea. That seemed, I think that would have gone a lot faster than the way I taught it. But again, however your learner picks up on it. And you can do the same with addresses. Yes. So instead of their phone number written out, you could do, 1633 West, wherever they live, and they would just learn the number, then the west or east, then the zip code, area code, that kind of thing. I know I have a kid right now who we ask him where he lives, and he says Mesa AZ. So we just need to teach sometimes our kids hear all this information and they do know a little bit of it. It's just getting the correct information.
Plus, it's a great way visually they can see it, and they're also practicing it verbally or building it, understanding it receptively. And with enough practice, they're going to be able to identify their phone number and recite it in situations where they might need to. And even having like a model written down here so they can see it. So you can be like, all right, well, what comes next? And you can point to those last numbers. Excellent.
And then using parents' names, learning parents' names.
Yep.
So Molly said that your client is working on community safety questions and tends to answer whatever he wants, not necessarily the question he asked. Any advice to help him answer the questions? I would ask, how old are you? And he'd answer where he lives. So that sounds like kind of like a prompting thing to me, kind of giving him the answer that we want him to use.
Yeah.
Or
maybe what we could do is you can have the phone number written out and then have his address and be like, all right, what's your phone number? And have the child touch which one the phone number is or how old they are. So you can have all those different safety question answers. Ask one, and we'd want the learner to answer the question, but they don't have to verbally say it. They can touch a card or something.
Yeah.
You'll find that that's a lot easier to do, and that's a nice step back until you can start gaining some momentum. So having them touch the correct answer versus saying it.
Yeah. And if you ask how old he is and he's giving you where he lives, like, no, that's where you live. You're, giving him the answer 8 years old or however old your client is. And then going back to noticing the questions he struggles with and working on those. Also asking the questions in different ways. So how old are you? What's another way you could ask that? Like, what's your age?
How many years are you?
Yeah, so maybe asking the question different ways. Maybe also, we could incorporate brother or sister. I feel like there's a lot of ways to teach that. I would prompt him to basically say how old he is and then tell him where he lives.
Yeah, you can even just practice one of the ones that he's struggling with and just repeatedly ask him, and until he's successful over a couple of trials, then incorporate a new question. So maybe you just might need to start teaching it one target at a time till the child masters it, then moving on to a new one, and then kind of rotating between those two, making sure that he's hearing your question, understanding it, and then answering it appropriately.
Definitely. Yeah. Cool. So I answered Molly.
Beautiful. And
we're kind of over time. I didn't realize what time it was.
No, that's all right.
So yeah, teach. Oh, and then our last topic is just generalizing.
That's super important, because even though that the learner may have it in a structured setting, we need to go out into the community. We need to go to different places. We need to practice with different caregivers. Parents need to be involved in this as well, because there are so many things that can happen and so many cues that we need kids to be identifying and looking out for. The more you can practice this, the better. Just a one and done is not going to cut it when it comes to safety awareness. So having the learner identify the helpers versus strangers out in the community. So once you've got it at the table, all right, now we're going to go to the mall. Hey, that guy over there, would you say that's a stranger or a community helper? Being super incognito, because you don't want to be like, pointing at a whole bunch of people out at the mall. But, really try to subtly ask those questions. And also, hey, who could we find if we were to get lost? Let's see, I think I had one more activity that I wanted to show you guys real quick before we do our raffle.
I know you guys want to stay 2 more minutes.
I know, this is just,
we have our raffle, we swear.
I know, we're hold up the reinforcer so we can tempt them. Another thing, I had a family that asked me about safety scenarios and specific protocols for what if the learner gets lost? What if there's a fire? What if someone gets hurt? So I made these really cool, they're process maps. I don't know if you guys can see those over there. So can you find your family or provider? If no, freeze. If yes, then you're good to go. But if no, can you find a person with a name tag or a mom with kids? If yes, go up to them, tell them you are lost and need help. If no, stay where you are until your family or provider finds you. So this is a really clear, if A plus B equals C, it's like a very clear linear process for our kiddos to understand. So I think this is a really cool tool, to kind of map out what to do in emergency situations.
Our kids like memorizing things, they like following steps, and that gives it very for them.
Excellent.
So we will do the raffle. Was that? Oh yeah. So we have these handouts. We'll do the handouts available. Those will be available on the website, or we'll email them out. You will get them. We'll figure that out. We'll have Lauren do this. So in there, there'll be potential reinforcer checklist. There'll be stranger danger resources, stranger danger board games. And there's questions for each age group too.
All right, we got Sherry L.
Sherry L, you got the gift card.
Woo!
Do we mail it? I think we'll mail it.
We'll mail it out to you today.
Alrighty, it was good. I have one last question. If you guys could just answer this before you sign off. I'm so sorry we've taken more of your time. What topics do you guys want us to go over? Is there anything in specific that you would find valuable to these webinars and things we can bring to you guys? So if you just want to type that real quick and then log off, it was Good seeing you guys all. We appreciate your time, and email us if you have any further questions.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.